Hello, everybody. It is I, the Big D, back to you live in person. I'm coming to you from the soap store. It's a dirty world. We clean it up. Got a viewer that asked a question, and the question is very simple. I want to get into over-the-road expediting in a cargo or sprinter van. How do I do it? Now, I'm going to give you some really good suggestions to help you along this path. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. It's easy. But first, I need you to do something. It's the test to see if you can actually do it. And it's a very simple test. Life of Chris, Chris Expediting. If he'd have taken this test that I did in a video 3 or 4 years ago, he wouldn't have made a mistake getting out there and lasting 5 days and saying it was too hot to sleep in a van. So what I want you to do is take and get in your car, truck, whatever you have, and I want you to put a sleeping bag in it, a pillow, and we're going to a truck stop, 15, 20 minutes away. Well worth it, because I'm going to save you a lot of time and money if you follow my instructions here. And we're going to get there, and we are going to stay the weekend. Yes, 2 whole days and nights in that car or truck, in that parking lot. And you have a van, even better. Stay in the van. And we're going to sit there. I don't care if it's cold out, because you're going to sleep there in the cold, too. Some places I stayed was 17 degrees below zero. Yeah, so you're going to need to be able to sleep in a van in cold weather. So now that you're there, you're going to get to see exciting things like people walking in and out of the door. I mean, this is big time exciting, folks. And you're going to see people pump gas. Oh, that's even better. That's when you really get thrilled. You see different cars going in, and after 2 days, if you're not going blah, 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 and batshit crazy and climbing the wall of your vehicle, you have now passed the test to be an expediter. Years ago, I used to do a test for boat ownership. See, this test is not going to cost you anything. It cost those people $1,000. I didn't keep the money. We went down to the suspension bridge in Cincinnati, walked out on the bridge. They brought the $1,000 in singles because I wanted to make a really good point. I set up a camcorder there, one of those old-fashioned big ones that sat on the tripod that was up high, because I wanted to make sure that there was no people lying saying, "Oh, I didn't really." No, we're going to get it on film. Today we just use a cell phone like I'm doing now, but then we had to use that big old stupid camera, VHS tape one, and what I'm talking about. So we get it out there, and as a boat went by that they liked under the bridge, they threw the $1,000 over the side. Yeah, this is an easy test. If they're standing there going, "Oh my God, this is great," you could buy a boat. But if they're like, "What the hell did I just do?" Don't buy the boat. Simple test, kind of like expediting. Go spend 2 days, cost you nothing. See if you actually like sitting, because you may sit 4 days there. I sat like that in Tucson in 112 degrees in the shade, and it was hot. So that being said, we're going to get into the steps now to actually get on the road. First and foremost, before you do what most people do, which is, I got a van. I went out and bought a van. I spent $48,000. I got a van. Well, make sure it's the right one first, and we're going to get into that. But I know you're excited, but don't do that. Because the next question is, now I got the van, what do I do? You don't know what to do. You should not have bought the van. Here's the steps. You're going to pick up the phone, and you're going to call Expedite companies. You can go to Expeditors online, that's right, and they have a whole list of them there. You can Google cargo and sprinter van Expedite companies. There's a slew of them. Now, remember, you can use a used van that's 5 years old with people like Load One, which there's a waiting list to get in there, in case you're wondering. C&M is a really good company. I recommend them. Barrett is at 3 years old, newer. If you can get into Barrett, you have hit the gold mine. Great company. Treats you like family. You will do very well there. And then there's Panther and Bolt, who I've mega carriers that I told you the only people who make money there are probably the people in the office, because you're going to go broke, and I've never known anybody that actually lasts there very long. But some people like it. Hey, I like making money, but money's good, but each their own. If you're getting out here on at a new, I don't want to be out there with thousands of other drivers around the world competing against my own company. Thought you should know. So go to Expeditors online, find a carrier, pick up the phone. Hello, hello. This is such and such. I want to know if you're putting, sprinter van carriers on at this time. No, we're not. Okay, thank you. Are you putting sprinter van in? No, we're not. Are you putting? No, we're not. Well, guess what? You got a van there with maybe $600 to $1,000 to $1,200 a month payments, and no one's signing on vans. Why you find a carrier first? Look, I'm thinking about getting an Expediting, and I just like to know what your requirements are. For instance, insurance. Do I provide the insurance through my company that I'm going to get, or do you have your company that you prefer us to use and sign on with you? Barrett would say, you have to use our insurance. Okay, so I know that. 2, what kind of van? It's going to be a Sprinter van. Now, I know you all thinking Mercedes, you're going to run to a Mercedes dealer and buy a Sprinter van. No, that's not what that means. A Sprinter van is a load board classification. A Sprinter van can be a ProMaster high top extended 3500. You notice I said high top extended. The biggest thing you can buy. A Transit, you get the high top extended. The Mercedes, the biggest one you could get. High top extended. Why? One thing, you're going to live in that van, so it's a little more comfortable too. You're going to have to be able to put those automotive skids in there, and they are sometimes very high, and they just barely fit in the door, and they go sliding up, and you may have to get 3 of them in there, and if you don't have the room, you can't get them in, and they won't use you. If you have a cargo van, and Bolt and Panther sign on cargo vans, Barrett will not take one because it limits the freight. Now, you're like, but I have a cargo van already. That's fine. Get out there and see if you like it. You can always trade up, okay? But don't go out and buy a van unless you know you're gonna like it. You can run for an owner like what Chris did. Chris, Nelson, Expediting Chris Nelson. You can run with an owner. Okay, that's not a bad idea. 6 months on the road, see if you like it. You're not gonna make as much because it's normally a 60-40 split. I know there's a guy on Alan's page, our channel, who thinks he's an expert in expediting, who says that you're getting ripped off at 60-40. Well, call around and ask what the norm is. It's 60-40. 60% goes to the driver, 40% goes to the owner. Driver pays the gas. But the owner's paying the insurance, the maintenance, the truck payment, and everything else. He's not getting rich off of this, folks. But he didn't go out and buy a $48,000 van so that you could make all the money. He has to get paid too and get a return on his investment. But it's not a bad way of doing it. So now you got to go buy a van. You found out you're going to go to Barrett. I got to get a new van. What van do I buy? That's personal preference. I had a ProMaster 3500 extended. I would buy a Transit. And that should tell you something. They all have their faults. The ProMaster is going to have a top engine rebuild, about 250, 300,000 miles. You're going to probably have to drop a motor in the thing. So realize what you're getting yourself into. They have a lot of problems, and the alternator costs you about $2,400 to install. And people are like, but I can go get it cheaper. Yeah, you can, but I'm telling you, go get the one from the dealer, have it installed. So when you're, I had it done here in Cincinnati, and I'm in Laredo, Texas, and that thing goes out, I can pull it into the Dodge dealer there, and they'll warranty and fix it there. That comes in very handful on the road because Blair's garage up the street here isn't in Dallas or Laredo. When I get broke down there because I put that rebuild in, it went bad. It's a little hard to get it fixed. And downtime costs you money. I could lose thousands of dollars. I got to stay at a motel while they fix the van because I live in the van, remember? So you got, pick out the one you want. Then you go get the van because you tell them I'm going to go get myself a Transit. And, when's orientation? They give you a date. Go get your van. Then, see, you have a job. Kind of helpful to have the job. See, they're going to sign you on. You got a green light. Good go. Then go get the van. Unless you already own one, then you have the van. But if you don't, go get on somewhere first. They'll tell you what they like, then go get it. We have the van. Now, if you got to provide your own insurance, Expeditors Online. They have insurance companies that advertise there. Call one up, get your insurance. There you go. If you're with Barrett, you're going to get insurance from I'm State Farm. State Farm's going to cover the van. I'm going to drive the van to the place, and then I'm going to drop it off. And they're going to kill the insurance, and I'm going to go under theirs. Simple as that. So that's so that's the insurance. Now, what do I need to take with me? Well, you're going to need a hard hat, safety glasses, gloves, a safety vest, steel-toed boots. Have them with you. Why? Because most carriers require it. Because you're going to go in places that are going to make you wear it, the vest especially. If you don't have it, they won't let you in. Simple as that. So you're going to need what's called the PPE equipment, and you got it. Is your arm getting sore?
Yes.
Here, hand here. There you go. My camera girl's arm's getting sore. It looked like I saw her behind the camera, and she's like crying. I go, oh, yes, she's seeing me for the first time without the mask is what it is. But now that you've basically got your van, you're in orientation. Orientation is different between places. Some places takes 2 days to teach you to be, I don't know what. I'm trying to figure out what you're in there for 2 days for. Because, you pick up freight, pick it up at A and drop it at B. I mean, they're going to show you how to use their app. They're going to make sure your insurance is done. They're going to letter your van. This should only take a few hours. Bear it. If it lasts 4 hours, it's a miracle. I mean, most of the time you're sitting in there talking fishing stories and everything else, and they're getting your insurance provided, and they're, signing your paperwork and all that, and your contract, and you get all that done. And then you're on the road. Biggest time is letter in the van. But some places take 2 to 3 days or 2 days, and you pay them lots of money and $200-300 for a drug test or whatever. And background checks and everything. And that's all done at Barrett, and you're out of there, and it doesn't cost you $500 or whatever it is. And, you paid for that. And that's why I like Barrett, because you're not getting ripped off. But anyway, now you're on the road. Congratulations. But you forgot something. You got to sleep in that van, didn't you? Yeah. We're going to need a mattress. We're going to need a sleeping bag. A 20-degree below one's the one you want, because if it's freezing out, believe it or not, 17 degrees below, get in that sleeping bag. You're going to be nice, warm, and toasty until you get out of it the next morning. 17 degrees below zero, and you step out. Oh, crap, is it cold? Yes, it is. If you get the remote start, that's even better, because while you're in that bed laying, start that engine and let it warm up and blow some heat. Or get yourself a Chinese diesel heater for $125 and push the button and turn it on, and before you get out of bed and let that back in, you can set it up and let it run all night. You'll stay nice and toasty, 17 degrees below zero. I'm sitting on top of the bunk with no sleeping, on top of the sleeping bag, on top of the mattress, watching it snow, believe it or not. It's freezing out there, and I'm out there in my underwear and no shirt because I'm hot. So, if you have that before you go, it's even better. A little insulation, some wall stuff, it comes in handy. A little curtain across the back. If you have that headache rack, get rid of it, because, believe it or not, you can get locked in the back. If the door locks fail, you're stuck back there. And if you need to move at night and you're in a very area that's kind of iffy, it's easier to walk through into the seat than get out of the van and walk around. So if you're a female, think about that. Get rid of the headache rack. You're going to have, E-track down with ratchets and stuff to secure the freight. Be sure you do this, because just recently we had an expediter on the road who didn't do that. He slammed on his brakes, his freight went forward and killed him. That's why you have a headache rack. So if you ratchet it down, it doesn't move. You got to secure the freight, and that's required basically. So just secure your freight. So very simple. So we're going to recap so far. We're going to go stay in a parking lot for a couple of days, see if you can actually do that. 2, you're going to call the carriers, find out if you can get one to sign you on. 3, you're going to ask about insurance and get insurance if you need to, or use them. 4, ask them, can you come work with them? 5, go get the van if you don't have it. 6, get your personal protection equipment. Make sure you have it in the van. 7, you're going to have a bed in there. If you don't have a heater, the remote start comes in handy, but I prefer the heater. But get these things, and if it's the middle of summer, that's not really that big of a deal. So then you're ready to get on the road and drive and make money. Tricks to making money is very simple. When you're driving along, stop, get some sleep when you're done. Okay? You're going to get what's called a protect time. It's on your phone. It'll be on the app. It'll tell you pick up, say, 8 a.m., and it's got to be at this location, no matter how many miles away, I say midnight. You got to 8 to midnight, so you got, 16 hours. I don't know how many miles it is. Let's say it's 500 miles, and I'll say 600. It's an hour drive, and you're going to get 16. So that means you got 6 extra hours to play with. That's your leeway time. So if you get tired, you can take a 2-hour nap, 3-hour nap, get gas, go to the bathroom, stuff like that. You get the time for that. I give you an idea what that's like. When I left Nogales, Arizona, which is right down on the southern border, I went to Detroit. Okay, it's 1,987 miles. I had 7 extra hours to play with, so I had 7 extra hours in that trip. That's over, almost 2,000 miles. So remember, I have to stop and get gas at least 4 times. So each time you get off, it's going to take you about 15 minutes to gas up, because that's 25, 30 ounce tank back there. It's going to take a few minutes to fill it up. And, you got to get the thing at the pump to work, and, it's not easy, but you think it is. And once you're standing there 15 minutes, because you got to get off the exit, get back on, it's about 15 minutes. So if you do that 4 times, you just lost an hour. Well, you haven't eaten yet either, but you're going to have to go to a drive-thru, because you ain't got time to go sit down at Perkins and have a 3-course meal. Because what if you run into traffic? That could really bite you in the butt because you have a hard delivery time. It's called your protect time. You can't be late. It makes you look bad. You can get the courier, the company can get fined for that, so you don't be late. But you got to sleep too. So how much, if I have 7 hours, how much sleep am I going to take? I'm going to take 3 hours. When am I going to do it? At 4 o'clock in the morning. Why? Because at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's still dark out. I'm going to pull in until it's dark. It's still a little cool. I'm going to sleep. And about 7, I'm going to get up and hit the hay. Get out of the hay at 7 and hit the road. Why? Because the sun's coming up. It's warming up. Once the sun comes up, you wake up, and I'm going to drive the rest of the way in. That's how you do it. So in conclusion, A, find out, go sit in the parking lot for 2 days, see if you like that. 2, call the companies. You can get it off Expeditors online. 3, find out if they'll take you on. And 4, then get the van and set it up and go from there. If you do in that order, you stand a better chance of succeeding. Or you can run for an owner who owns the van 60-40 split and do it that way until you find out if you like it. If you don't like it, you've invested all this money. It's depreciating. Now, one other thing I didn't mention is before you come out, you're going to need money. If you're dead broke, this is probably not a good idea because you got to pay for the gas, any breakdowns that you may have, for at least a week before they direct deposit the money into your account. So you're going to have a little cash around. I would prefer, at least $5,000 in an emergency fund, $1,000 for yourself in gas and food, because you got to eat while you're out there. But if not, do what you can to, you at least need $1,000. Food and gas until you get paid again. So this is Big D saying, you want to be an expediter? You can be an expediter. And also go watch all of Everything Apex videos, Alan Jackson's videos. He taught me to be an expediter. I made $107,000 my first year expediting. Never done it before. You can make money. And this is how I did it. It's probably the way you should too. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, doesn't matter. Comment, I love comments. I'll answer what you have to say. If you share it to a friend. If you don't like the person you're sharing it to, I'm not proud. Share it to an enemy. I could care less. Later.